Ladies and gentlemen, every great journey begins with a single step, and often that step is taken in silence. Today, I want to talk about something that might seem counterintuitive in a world that constantly encourages sharing, posting, and broadcasting our every thought, ambition, and plan. A plan is a delicate creation. When first conceived, it exists as an idea, a concept vulnerable to the influences of both external factors and internal uncertainty. At this stage, it is not yet strong enough to withstand criticism, doubts, or the weight of other people's opinion. Much like a seed planted in fertile soil, a plan requires a period of careful nurturing, free from interference, so it can begin to grow and develop its own foundation. Protection is not a sign of weakness, rather, it is an acknowledgement of the fragile state of something that has the potential to become strong and impactful in the future. When you share your plans too soon, you open the door to a variety of reactions that might disrupt your focus and momentum. Even well-meaning friends, family members, or colleagues might unintentionally dampen your enthusiasm. They could question your methods, express doubts about the feasibility of your goals, or inject their own fears into your process. While such feedback may come from a place of care or concern, it can have a detrimental effect, sowing seeds of doubt where there was once clarity and confidence. To external influences, prematurely exposing your plans can amplify your own internal uncertainty. Sharing an idea makes it real in a way that internal thoughts do not. Once out in the open, the weight of expectation settles in. You may find yourself questioning whether your plan is good enough to share or worrying about how others perceive it. This kind of pressure can be paralyzing, leading you to second guess your approach or lose sight of the original vision that inspired you in the first. One of the most important reasons to protect your plans is to avoid the noise of external validation. In today's world, where every milestone and goal seems to be shared online, the desire for approval can be overwhelming. But seeking validation too early can distract you from the real work required to bring your vision to life. The fleeting satisfaction of someone's approval may feel good in the moment, but it can replace the deeper sense of accomplishment that comes from seeing your plan through to completion. This premature recognition can create a false sense of progress, tricking your brain into believing you've achieved something before you've truly started. There's also the danger of diluting your commitment. When plans are shared, they often become subject to external timelines, expectations, or comparisons. Suddenly, your plan is no longer just your own, it becomes something others feel entitled to judge or measure against their standards. This shift can cause you to prioritize external approval over internal motivation, leading to a loss of authenticity in your approach. The true purpose of the plan may become overshadowed by the need to meet external expectations, reducing the likelihood of success. Protecting your plans doesn't mean isolating yourself completely or refusing all forms of collaboration. It means understanding that there is a right time to share and a right time to keep things to yourself. In the initial stages of a plan, silence is often your greatest ally. It allows you to focus, refine, and build without distraction. It gives you the space to test ideas, make mistakes, and learn without the fear of judgment. This period of quiet growth is essential for strengthening your resolve and ensuring that your plan is based on a solid foundation. The act of withholding your plans also creates a sense of personal accountability. When you resist the urge to share your ideas, you are forced to rely on your own discipline and self-motivation. This internal drive is often more sustainable and powerful than any external encouragement could ever be. By keeping your plans private, you take full ownership of your vision, becoming the sole architect of its success or failure. This ownership fosters a sense of responsibility that can propel you forward even when challenges arise. Protecting your plans also helps you maintain focus. When you share your ideas with others, you may inadvertently invite distractions into your process. Opinions, advice, and suggestions can pull you in multiple directions, making it harder to stay aligned with your original purpose. By keeping your plans to yourself, you preserve the clarity and direction needed to make consistent progress. This focused approach allows you to prioritize what truly matters and filter out unnecessary noise. The practice of safeguarding your plans builds resilience. It teaches you to trust your instincts and believe in your ability to see things through without relying on external affirmation. This self-reliance is a valuable skill, not just for achieving your current goals, but for navigating future challenges as well. When you learn to protect your plans, you develop the confidence and independence needed to pursue your ambitions with unwavering determination. In essence, protecting your plans is about creating a safe space for them to grow. It's about recognizing the value of what you're building and understanding that not everything needs to be shared with the world right away. By keeping your plans private, you give them the time and attention they need to evolve into something extraordinary. It's a small but significant act of self-discipline that can make all the difference in turning an idea into reality. When a plan is shared prematurely, the sense of accomplishment that accompanies the act of sharing can trick the brain into feeling as though progress has already been made. This phenomenon, often referred to as the intention-action gap, can hinder the actual execution of a goal. Sharing creates a psychological reward, giving the impression of achievement before any real work has been done. This premature sense of satisfaction can dilute the urgency and motivation necessary for turning intentions into reality. Instead of fueling the drive to take action, it diminishes it, leaving the plan at a standstill. The human brain is wired to seek reward, and this wiring can be both a strength and a vulnerability. When we articulate our plans to others, we often receive validation in the form of encouragement, admiration, or support. This feedback feels rewarding, And while it may seem harmless or even helpful, it can subtly reduce the drive to pursue the actual steps needed to achieve the goal. The satisfaction of being acknowledged replaces the more enduring and meaningful satisfaction of tangible success. The energy that should be directed toward action is instead expended on discussing, justifying, or refining the plan in response to external feedback. Beyond the psychological impact, prematurely sharing a plan often invites scrutiny and opinions. While feedback can sometimes be constructive, it can also lead to doubt and second guessing. Plans in their early stages are particularly vulnerable to criticism because they are not yet fully formed. Sharing them too soon exposes them to unnecessary risks, including the risk of losing clarity and confidence. When others weigh in on a plan, they bring their perspectives, biases, and fears, which may not align with the creator's original vision. This can derail the process, causing confusion or discouragement, and making it harder to maintain focus and commitment. The act of sharing can also shift the focus from doing to explaining. Instead of devoting energy to executing the plan, individuals often find themselves caught up in discussions about the how and why of their goals. This shift in focus creates a form of inertia, where the momentum that should be driving action is replaced by the effort to justify or elaborate on the plan. The time and energy spent on explaining could have been used more effectively in implementing the steps needed to achieve the desired outcome. Moreover, sharing a plan too soon creates a social accountability dynamic that can be counterproductive. While accountability can be a powerful motivator for some, it can also lead to a sense of external pressure that stifles creativity and flexibility. The knowledge that others are watching and waiting for results can create a performance-oriented mindset where the focus shifts from genuine progress to meeting expectations or avoiding failure. This external pressure can make the process feel less personal and meaningful, reducing the intrinsic motivation that drives true success. There is also a risk of overthinking when plans are shared prematurely. The more opinions and suggestions are introduced, the more complex the decision-making process becomes. This can lead to analysis paralysis, where the fear of making the wrong choice prevents any choice from being made at all. In the absence of external input, individuals are more likely to trust their instincts and move forward with confidence, even if their initial steps are imperfect. Premature sharing disrupts this natural process, making it harder to take decisive action. The satisfaction derived from sharing a plan can also create a false sense of progress that leads to complacency. When goals are shared, the social reward of acknowledgement can create an illusion of having moved closer to the goal. This illusion reduces the perceived need for further effort, making it easier to procrastinate or lose momentum. The sense of having already done something can undermine the urgency and discipline required to take the next steps. Without this urgency, even the best laid plans can falter, remaining unfulfilled ideas rather than realized achievement. The act of sharing can shift the focus from internal growth to external validation. When plans are kept private, individuals are free to explore their goals in a way that aligns with their personal values and aspirations. They can experiment, learn, and adapt without fear of judgment or failure. Once plans are shared, however, the process often becomes more about meeting expectations than about genuine self-discovery or improvement. This shift can make the journey feel less authentic and more burdensome, reducing the joy and fulfillment that come from pursuing a meaningful goal. Another consideration is the impact of sharing on resilience. When plans are kept private, setbacks and challenges are internalized as part of the learning process. This fosters a sense of ownership and accountability that builds resilience over time. In contrast, when plans are shared, failures and setbacks are often viewed through the lens of external judgment. This can make them feel more discouraging and harder to overcome. The fear of disappointing others or being seen as unsuccessful can create additional pressure, making it more difficult to bounce back and keep moving forward. The energy spent sharing a plan can detract from the energy available for action. Achieving a goal requires sustained effort, focus, and determination. When this energy is diverted into discussions, explanations, or managing expectations, less is left for the actual work of execution. Protecting a plan from premature exposure ensures that all available resources are directed toward the actions that matter most. It creates a focused and purposeful approach that increases the likelihood of success. By withholding plans and focusing on action, individuals can channel their energy into meaningful progress. This approach preserves the clarity, motivation, and momentum needed to turn intentions into reality. It emphasizes the value of doing over talking, ensuring that effort is directed toward achieving results rather than seeking validation. Through this disciplined and intentional approach, even the most ambitious goals can be realized. Actions are the ultimate proof of intent, while words are merely promises of what might be. A common pitfall in pursuing goals is the tendency to talk more about ambitions than to act on them. Discussing plans can feel gratifying, offering the illusion of progress, but it is actions that bring results and give substance to aspiration. When goals are shared prematurely or excessively, the focus often shifts to the narrative of what could be rather than the reality of doing the work to achieve it. This tendency can dilute the energy needed for execution, leaving ideas unrealized and potential unfulfilled. Taking action requires effort, commitment, and resilience, which cannot be replaced by the act of verbalizing intentions. While sharing plans may momentarily boost confidence or garner encouragement, these external affirmations are fleeting. True progress demands more than just declarations. It requires deliberate and consistent steps that move you closer to your objective. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't often lies in the ability to focus on doing rather than speak. Every step taken, no matter how small, builds momentum, creates results, and strengthens confidence. Moreover, actions carry credibility that words simply cannot. When someone speaks of their plans but fails to follow through, the words lose their weight, and over time, so does their trustworthiness. Repeated instances of talking without doing can create a pattern where intentions are seen as empty promises. On the other hand, letting actions speak for themselves establishes a reputation for reliability and determination. It shows that you are serious about your goals and capable of delivering on them, which inspires confidence in both yourself and others. When actions take precedence over words, they generate tangible outcomes that validate the effort put into achieving a goal. Words can inspire, but they do not inherently prove capability. Results, however, are undeniable. They stand as evidence of perseverance, skill, and the ability to turn vision into reality. Each action taken not only moves the individual closer to their goal, but also serves as a testament to their commitment. This commitment builds credibility and reinforces the cycle of action and achievement, creating a foundation for sustained success. Focusing on actions also creates an internal shift toward accountability. When you prioritize doing over talking, you take full responsibility for your progress. There is no reliance on external validation or support. The emphasis is solely on what you can control. This mindset fosters independence and resilience, qualities that are essential for overcoming challenges and navigating setbacks. When you own your actions, you also own your results, which empowers you to learn from mistakes and continuously improve. Actions also produce a sense of satisfaction that words cannot replicate. Talking about a plan can provide a fleeting sense of accomplishment, but it pales in comparison to the fulfillment that comes from completing a task or achieving a milestone. This satisfaction is deeply personal and rooted in the knowledge that progress has been made through effort and dedication. It creates a sense of pride and reinforces the belief in one's ability to succeed, which in turn fuels further action. Additionally, when actions speak louder than intentions, they often inspire others in ways words alone cannot. Witnessing someone put in the effort and achieve results can be far more motivating than hearing them talk about what they hope to do. Actions have a ripple effect, demonstrating what is possible and encouraging others to take steps toward their own goals. This influence extends beyond verbal persuasion, creating a lasting impact through example rather than explanation. Another advantage of focusing on actions over words is the avoidance of unnecessary scrutiny and pressure. When plans are shared widely, they often attract opinions, advice, and expectations that may not align with the original vision. These external influences can create distractions or lead to self-doubt, making it harder to stay focused and motivated. By letting actions do the talking, you sidestep this potential interference and maintain control over your process. The focus remains on progress and results, not on meeting the expectations of others. Taking action also creates momentum. Each small step taken builds upon the last, creating a sense of progress and achievement that propels you forward. This momentum is self-reinforcing. The more you accomplish, the more motivated you become to continue. In contrast, excessive talking about plans can stall momentum, as it shifts the focus away from execution and toward speculation. Momentum thrives on action, and even the smallest effort can set the stage for significant progress over time. Moreover, actions demonstrate adaptability and resilience. Plans often require adjustments as circumstances change or new challenges arise. Talking about intentions rarely accounts for these shifts, while taking action inherently involves responding to feedback and learning from experience. This process of doing, adapting, and improving is what ultimately leads to success. It shows that you are not only committed to your goal, but also capable of navigating the complexities involved in achieving it. By prioritizing actions over words, you develop a habit of focusing on what truly matters. The energy spent on sharing plans or seeking validation is redirected toward meaningful effort. This approach fosters a sense of discipline and purpose, ensuring that every step taken is purposeful and aligned with the ultimate objective. It eliminates distractions and keeps the focus on what is within your control, your actions and their outcomes. In the end, actions define who you are and what you accomplish. They reflect your priorities, values, and determination in a way that words cannot. While talking about plans may feel satisfying in the moment, it is through doing that you create lasting change and meaningful success. Every effort made, no matter how small, is a step toward turning your vision into reality. By letting actions speak louder than intentions, you not only achieve your goals, but also build a foundation of integrity, credibility, and self-belief that will serve you well in all aspects of life. Discipline is the cornerstone of progress. And in the context of pursuing goals, it often takes the form of restraint. One of the most powerful forms of discipline is knowing when to keep your plans to yourself. This is not about secrecy for its own sake, but about fostering a focused and intentional environment where your energy is dedicated to action rather than explanation or validation. In a world that often values instant sharing and external affirmation, the ability to withhold information about your plans is a profound act of self-control that allows you to maintain focus and momentum. Keeping plans private cultivates an internal locus of control. It reminds you that the responsibility for your success lies with you alone, not with the opinions or expectations of others. By exercising discipline in this way, you protect your goals from unnecessary interference and distraction. When a plan is shared too soon, it often invites input that can derail or distort your original vision. While feedback can sometimes be valuable, it is often unnecessary or premature in the early stages of a plan. By resisting the urge to share, you preserve the purity of your idea and ensure that its development is driven by your own values and insight. This discipline also prevents the energy drain that comes from constant justification or explanation. When plans are shared, they are often met with questions, concerns, or suggestions, each of which requires a response. While these interactions may seem harmless, they divert your attention from the work itself and into a cycle of verbal engagement. Over time, this can sap the energy and motivation that are critical to execution. Keeping your plans private allows you to conserve this energy and direct it toward meaningful action. It ensures that your efforts are aligned with your goals rather than diluted by external demands. Another benefit of exercising discipline by withholding your plans is the ability to control the narrative surrounding your goals. When you share your plans with others, you give them the opportunity to interpret and, in some cases, misunderstand your intentions. This can lead to unnecessary speculation or even criticism, which can be discouraging or distracting. By keeping your plans private, you maintain full control over how and when your goals are revealed, ensuring that they are presented in the best possible light. This level of control is not about avoiding scrutiny, but about managing the timing and context of external engagement to support your success. Resisting the urge to share also strengthens your ability to stay focused on the process rather than the outcome. When plans are shared, they often become linked to external validation or expectation. This shift can make it tempting to prioritize meeting those expectations over making genuine progress. The discipline of keeping your plans private removes this temptation, allowing you to focus solely on the steps needed to achieve your goal. It keeps the emphasis on the work itself, ensuring that your actions are driven by purpose rather than performance. This approach also builds resilience by fostering a sense of self-reliance. When you choose to keep your plans private, you rely solely on your own motivation and determination to move forward. This reliance strengthens your ability to overcome challenges and adapt to changing circumstances. It teaches you to trust yourself and your process even in the absence of external support or validation. Over time, this self-reliance becomes a powerful tool for navigating the uncertainties and complexities of pursuing ambitious goals. The discipline of withholding plans can create a sense of anticipation and focus. When you know that your plans are yours alone, there is a unique sense of ownership that comes with that privacy. This ownership can be incredibly motivating as it reinforces the idea that your success is a direct result of your effort and determination. It eliminates the distractions of external influences, allowing you to channel all of your energy into making meaningful progress. This focused approach is often the key to achieving significant results. Keeping plans private also fosters a sense of integrity and authenticity. When your actions are not influenced by the need to impress or satisfy others, they are more likely to align with your true intentions and values. This alignment creates a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose as you know that your efforts are driven by genuine passion rather than external pressure. The discipline of withholding your plans ensures that your journey remains authentic and meaningful, even as you work toward ambitious goals. This discipline helps to manage expectations, both your own and those of others. When plans are shared, they often create a sense of obligation to meet external timelines or standards. This pressure can be counterproductive as it shifts the focus away from the quality of the work and toward the perception of progress. By keeping your plans private, you free yourself from these external expectations and retain the flexibility to adjust your approach as needed. This flexibility is essential for navigating challenges and ensuring that your efforts remain aligned with your ultimate vision. The act of withholding your plans can create a powerful sense of anticipation and impact when your goals are eventually revealed. When plans are shared prematurely, they often lose their novelty and excitement, making the eventual outcome feel less significant. By exercising discipline and keeping your plans private, you create an element of surprise that enhances the impact of your achievements. This approach not only protects your process, but also amplifies the sense of accomplishment when your efforts come to fruition. The discipline of keeping your plans private is a subtle but powerful tool for achieving success. It fosters focus, resilience, and authenticity while protecting your energy and motivation from unnecessary distraction. By resisting the urge to share, you create an environment where your goals can thrive, ensuring that every step you take is purposeful and aligned with your ultimate vision. When you share a plan, particularly in its early stages, there is a tendency for the focus to shift from the actual work involved to the intentions behind it. By revealing your plans too soon, you invite the expectation of progress without having completed any tangible work. While intentions can be compelling and inspiring, they remain just that, potential outcomes based on ideas and aspirations. The real impact comes from completing the work, from turning those intentions into something concrete and meaningful. This is where the real value lies in the results, not in the promises or aspirations about what is to come. Moreover, focusing on the result rather than the process of sharing intentions minimizes the risk of misinterpretation. When you describe a plan in its early stages, it can be challenging for others to understand it in the same way you do. They may not see the full picture or understand the nuances that shape your vision. This can lead to confusion or feedback that, while well-meaning, might steer you off course. By waiting to share the results, you avoid the miscommunication that often occurs when ideas are in their infancy. Once the result is tangible, it speaks for itself, reducing the chance of misinterpretation or unnecessary critique. Furthermore, results speak louder than words, because they are a clear reflection of your ability to take action and deliver. In today's world, where words are often cheap and plentiful, it is the outcome that proves your commitment and capacity. In a culture that often prioritizes verbal expression over real achievement, results stand out and carry much more weight. They offer undeniable evidence that you have put in the work necessary to accomplish your goals, providing both you and others with clear, irrefutable proof of your effort. Achieving results validates the time, effort, and discipline you've invested, and they communicate success in a way that mere words never can. Once a goal is accomplished, the impact is often much greater than it would have been had the plan been shared too early. By keeping your plan private, you give it room to evolve, mature, and develop into something more impactful than it might have been had others' opinions or expectations been factored in too soon. The result, when revealed, is a culmination of your work. And it is this finished product that creates a lasting impression, not the promise of a future result. There is an inherent power in unveiling something that has already been completed because it speaks for itself and stands on its own merit. Additionally, when results are shared, they are often accompanied by stories of the journey that led to them. These stories carry far more weight than a simple outline of what the plan was supposed to be. The experiences, lessons learned, and challenges overcome while completing a goal give depth and meaning to the final outcome. These elements are often what inspire and resonate most with others because they reflect the effort and perseverance that went into achieving success. In contrast, intentions alone can lack that depth, leaving them to feel like promises without substance. The very act of withholding your plans and focusing on results also helps to keep the pressure off. When you share your intentions with others, you may inadvertently invite unwanted pressure. The expectation of success, often heightened by external validation, can become overwhelming. It can create a sense of urgency or obligation that detracts from the work itself. By choosing to keep plans private, you free yourself from these external pressures and allow yourself the space to work at your own pace. This ensures that your focus remains on the actual execution of your goals, rather than worrying about how others perceive your progress or whether they are waiting for you to fulfill a promise. Furthermore, revealing results rather than intentions allows for a more measured response from others. When people see the final outcome, they can appreciate the work that went into it without any preconceived judgments or expectations. Results are not subject to opinion in the same way intentions are. The completion of a task is an objective achievement, and people can see the effort that has been invested in a way that leaves little room for criticism. This can be incredibly empowering because it allows you to present your success on your own terms, showcasing the value and significance of your work without the influence of outside opinion. Keeping plans private also allows you to focus on quality, rather than the quantity of opinions or feedback you receive. Sharing an intention invites various forms of input, and while some may be helpful, it can often feel overwhelming or conflicting. Everyone has their own perspective, and while diverse opinions can be valuable, they can also dilute your original vision. By staying focused on your work and withholding the details of your plan, you give yourself the space to prioritize what matters most, achieving the desired result, without getting bogged down in endless discussions or revisions based on others' input. Ultimately, the most meaningful and lasting impact comes from the results you create. While intentions can be inspiring and may serve as a guide, they do not leave the same lasting impression as the final product. People remember what you accomplish far more than they remember what you plan to do. This is why it's essential to shift the focus from talking about goals to work. Every step you take toward completing a task, no matter how small, is a step closer to creating something that will speak for itself. Once the result is in place, it stands as a testament to your abilities, dedication, and persistence. By focusing on results rather than intentions, you maintain control over the pace of your journey and avoid unnecessary distractions. You allow your work to build momentum, and you create a strong foundation that will carry you through to the end. The final result will always carry more weight than any early conversation about your plans, and it will ultimately define your success in a way that words alone cannot. The act of keeping plans private fosters a level of protection for your ideas, preventing them from being prematurely scrutinized or influenced by the opinions of others. In a world where feedback is often offered freely and without invitation, sharing your plans too soon can expose your ideas to external pressures that might alter or weaken them. This is particularly true in the early stages of a project when your vision is still forming, and it requires space to breathe and evolve. The act of withholding your plans ensures that they remain in their purest form, free from the external influences that can derail or change the course of your original intention. When plans are kept private, there is a greater opportunity for creative freedom, and autonomy. This protective barrier shields the integrity of your ideas from unsolicited advice, criticism, or assumptions that others may impose. The early stages of any project are delicate, and the risk of allowing too many voices into the conversation can dilute your sense of direction and purpose. By maintaining the privacy of your plans, you give yourself the freedom to explore, adjust, and develop your ideas without the constant concern of how they might be received by others. This independence allows you to take risks, try new things, and experiment in a way that would be difficult if you were constantly seeking approval or second-guessing your decisions based on external feedback. Additionally, keeping plans private can help protect your ideas from being copied or stolen. In an era where intellectual property is often unprotected, sharing your plans too early exposes them to the risk of being taken and executed by others. Whether in a business, creative, or personal context, ideas are valuable currency, and once they are shared openly, they lose their uniqueness and originality. Keeping your plans to yourself prevents others from taking advantage of your hard work and creativity before you've had the chance to fully execute your vision. It ensures that your ideas remain yours, allowing you to build on them and develop them fully before presenting them to the world. The act of withholding plans also provides the mental space needed to focus on the most important aspects of the work execution and progress. When you are constantly talking about your plans or seeking validation for them, the energy and effort you would have directed toward making tangible progress gets redirected into conversations. These discussions, while often well-intentioned, can become distractions that shift your attention away from the actual work. Each conversation about your plans can become a subtle form of procrastination, where the satisfaction of discussing what you hope to do replaces the need to do it. By keeping your plans private, you reduce the temptation to seek constant affirmation and keep your attention focused on the actions that will lead to results. Furthermore, the process of developing and refining your plans in private allows you to build confidence in your abilities and ideas. When you are not constantly explaining or defending your vision, you have the opportunity to test and validate your ideas in a more personal and authentic way. As you work through challenges and refine your approach, you build a deeper understanding of your goals and strengthen your belief in your ability to achieve them. This internal validation is far more empowering than seeking approval from others, as it builds self-reliance and resilience. You come to trust in your ability to solve problems, make decisions, and take action without the need for external confirmation. Moreover, by withholding your plans, you create space for reflection and recalibration. The journey toward achieving a goal is rarely linear. There are often setbacks, changes in direction, and moments of doubt. When your plans are public or shared too early, you may feel the pressure to stay on course, even when the course is no longer right for you. Keeping your plans to yourself gives you the flexibility to pivot and adjust your approach without feeling the need to explain every shift to others. This ability to adapt and recalibrate without external scrutiny is vital for success, as it allows you to remain agile and responsive to the challenges and opportunities that arise along the way. Keeping plans private allows you to protect your mental and emotional space. Constantly talking about your plans can lead to mental fatigue, as the act of discussing your goals over and over again can be draining. Every time you explain your ideas, you engage in a process of rejustification, which can subtly wear you down. By keeping your plans private, you reduce this mental clutter, allowing your mind to stay focused and clear. This sense of mental peace is invaluable when it comes to achieving success, as it creates an environment where you can think creatively, make decisions with clarity, and remain fully immersed in the work at hand. When plans are kept private, it also allows for a deeper level of accountability to oneself. Without the external validation or opinions of others, you are forced to take full responsibility for your actions and progress. This can be incredibly motivating, as it reinforces the idea that your success is entirely dependent on your efforts and decisions. You become your own greatest motivator, relying on your internal drive to keep moving forward and stay on track. This self-accountability helps develop a stronger sense of discipline, as it reinforces the importance of taking consistent action and holding yourself to the highest standard.